The key is in not spending time, but in investing it. Stephen Covey. DZ Tribe, Josh Thomas. I want to talk about something that's really important today. And I want to talk about the concept of building what I call an unbreakable team. You see, I've worked with teams for the better part of a decade, about 15 years, give or take. And I've seen a lot of really great teams. I've seen a lot of really crappy teams. I've seen teams with poor leadership, poor execution. I've seen teams with great leadership and great execution, and I've seen pretty much everything in between. And I learned a thing or two. I learned that there are certain things that you need to do to make sure that your team is ultimately unbreakable. I'll get to what that means in a minute. And then there are certain things that you need to make sure that you don't do at all costs. You need to avoid doing these things because if you do them, it will create some chinks in the armor and it will make your team quite breakable, actually. But you don't want a quite breakable team. You want an unbreakable team. And I'm going to talk about that. And I'm actually launching something called Unbreakable Teams very soon. It's not exactly today, but if you are interested, if you're listening to this podcast and you have questions and you run a team, you have employees or contractors or VAs, or you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for ways to grow and be held accountable, then I do suggest that you reach out to me directly. If you know how to reach me, it should be pretty easy. You can go to thedozone.com and there's some contacts on there. You can find me on any social media. My handle is @JTLiterally. And other than that, I can talk about that. This isn't a promotion for Unbreakable Teams, but it is something that's top of mind because it's something I've been working on for a long time. Not just the past year and doing this launch, but basically my life has been consumed by creating Unbreakable Teams. And so let me show you what that is. I'll peel back the onion a little bit to figure out what is an unbreakable team. There are 4 components of an unbreakable team. And the first one is, let's call it the nucleus. And the nucleus of an unbreakable team is a common objective. We need to all be bought in to the same thing. If your team has a common objective, there's a good chance that they're going to go above and beyond. They're going to stay on task. They're going to be more productive, and they're going to help you get things done because everybody knows where we're going. If nobody knows where we're going, then it's just clocking in and clocking out, and there's nothing glorious about that, and you're probably going to lose people. So you want to make sure that everybody understands is on board with a common objective. The first layer of protection for that nucleus is a clear plan. And because a common objective is one thing, we all want the same thing. But do we have a clear, straight and narrow path to get there? Because if it's curvy and wobbly and angly, then that's not going to work. I am guilty of this just like anybody else. I tend to overcomplicate things and et cetera, et cetera. But when it comes to operating a team, if you want that team to be truly unbreakable, give them a clear direction, a single place that they need to be going in order for them to be successful. And those are the first most important parts. You've got your nucleus, which is a common objective. You've got your first defense for that common objective, which is giving a clear plan. And then now your team is going to be the next layer of defense. We call it a well-trained crew. You have to have people who are competent and who are capable of being autonomous in their positions that you know and you can count on them to do their jobs at a very high level. You need to have a highly trained crew, a very, very well-trained crew of people who know exactly what to do so that they can execute that plan that you laid out that was so clear so that we can all achieve that common objective. And then the final line of defense, the impermeable ring that goes around the perimeter of an unbreakable team. And this is the thing that almost every team that I've ever seen has lacked. And it's the one thing that keeps them from being truly unbreakable. And that is maniacal execution. Not just we're a team that executes. Maniacal execution. And what I mean by maniacal, it means that we are maniacs about executing and about making sure that the things get done that we say that we're going to do. That's maniacal execution. Maniacal execution is on Tuesday, I told you I would get this to you by Friday at 3 p.m. And by Friday at 2:30, I'm handing it in. And you're going to make sure I do that because you're holding me accountable for it. That's maniacal execution. If you don't have that with your well-trained crew, because they're not following a clear plan, because they don't have a common objective, your team, sir or madam, is not unbreakable. But if you do want to build one, you have to start from the ground up. You have to form that nucleus. You have to get everybody around you bought in for whatever the thing is that you want done. Start there first. Once they're bought in, once everybody's on the same page and pointing in the same direction, hand them a clear plan that they can easily follow. And surround yourself with a well-trained crew who knows exactly what to do, who you can count on, who you don't need to babysit or micromanage. And then finally, that last impermeable ring that makes your team truly unbreakable. Be maniacal about your execution. Make sure if you say you're going to do something, freaking do it. Make sure everybody in your team does that too. Hold them all accountable. Don't give them slack. Don't be mean or rude. But that is our defense against the force of average. It's our defense against failure, against mediocrity,